In this tutorial, we're going to look at creating a site plan. So first what you need to do is get a site plan from your surveyor, and preferably you would want to get it in DWG or DXF format. And I would recommend not necessarily importing it into your building file. I would start a new SketchUp file and import the site plan into there. Because with layout, we don't necessarily need to have just one file that has everything in it, because in layout we can insert multiple SketchUp files. So that being said, let's go to File, Import, and then we can select the site plan that we wish to import. Under the options, we can now tick all of these and choose the units as millimeters. So in the resources file, which will give you with all the files to grab, we can now import the siteplan.dwg, and just make sure your file types are set to DWG, or you can select all supported types, which would also give you SketchUp and DWG. Alright, so select that and select import. Okay, the results will show up of how that's imported, and here's the result. So we've got the site plan, we've got the setback already in here, and we have the original house set here as well. So we're just going to now go to our 2D view, click on Zoom Extents, make sure the perspective is turned off and parallel projecting is turned on, right click and update the 2D view. We can also right click and rename that site plan. And we don't need the 3D view, so we're going to right click on that and delete that out. Okay, so we only have the site plan. Now I want you to hit save, and we're going to paste that. We're going to save that into our resources folder, so we'll call it site plan only. Okay, and then you can now start a new drawing. So that's complete. Now go into your layout drawing and then go to your site plan page. Here we will be able to go to File, Import, and then we can import the site plan SketchUp file. Now if we select Open, that will come in, and then over here on the right hand side you can see the SketchUp model, and we can now use the drop down here and choose what scale we want. So we want it to be about 1 to 500 is what we're after. So we'll drag that out and drag that out. Okay, so 1 to 500 is a bit too small. Sorry, a bit too big, so we might need to add a custom scale. So to add a custom scale, what you can do is go to Edit menu, Preferences, Scales, and then we can set it to millimeters. And you can say in paper space it's 1, and in model space it's 750. So 1 to 750. Add custom scale, and then close that. Select the file, select the SketchUp model if it's not selected. Then this will appear on the right, and choose the scale that you need. So we'll go 1 to 750, and that looks like it's almost going to fit. So it's pretty close. So maybe if we rotate it a little bit, so if we drag this out, it will then make it a little bit smoother for rotating. So the further away that line is, the easier it is to rotate. Okay, so by doing that, we can now drag that up and make it fit on the sheet. Awesome. So it did come with a north angle in the DWG, so we might as well use that. So I'm going to get rid of that. All right. And we're going to now click on the model, or click on the site plan, and select vector mode. because we want to ensure that the line types are perfect. So when we zoom in, you can see we get a perfect compass, perfect lines, and we're now ready to work on our model. So if we go over to here, the site plan, we need to change the scale to 1 to 750. Okay. Then you would just enter in the information about the house and things like that. So we won't get into that. And on the DWG file, if I was to just show you that, I've got like an electronic DWG viewer. It shows me all the dimensions and setbacks for that. So I've got all those settings as needed. Okay. So now we can close that, and then I'm just going to show you how to do one dimension and how to add one nut, and then we'll go through and add the rest of them. So what we need to do next is get the dimension tool, and then we can click on this edge here to begin, and it's automatically found perpendicular to that line, so we just take it straight across until it hits the edge, click, and then click again, and now it's placed it perfectly. Next you would get the text tool, and I can now click to begin, and I would say setback, and then click away. And before I do my next text, I would click on the text tool, and under shape style just turn off stroke so we don't get an outline, and then select the text box and select stroke so that that's turned off, and then we can rotate that and then move it underneath there. Okay, so if I want to add more text over here, I can then rotate that. And then which we'll put up there first, double click, and then this is going to be 192.24 meters, and then it is 48 degrees. For some reason my degree symbol isn't working. And then 0.5 minutes and 20 seconds. And then we can just drag that out. So I'll see if I can get the symbol to work. Okay, so the degree symbol is when you hold Alt on your keyboard, this is on a Windows, 0176 release, and it will give you a degree symbol. Okay, so this is what we would need to do to label that up. So I'm just going to pause it and add the rest of the dimensions to the site plan. Okay, so we've gone through and added in all the dimensions and those notes. So now what we can do is add in a couple extra little notes here. So I haven't got an N here. So for north and east and south. And I just noticed when I clicked on the text tool, I had fill still turned on it. So if I click on the text tool again, I'm going to uncheck fill, and I'm going to set it so it's in the center. Click and then go north, in for north, and then we can rotate that. All right. And then when you're happy with that, we can copy that to there. If you're finding that object snap's getting in the way, you can right click and turn off object snap, and then it will just copy a lot smoother. Oop. Okay, so I'm happy with that now. Almost happy with that. Okay, so now we need to add in our new building and locate it. So we're going to go to the next page. And we're going to select our SketchUp model and then right click and copy that. Okay, then go back to the site plan, right click and select paste. Okay, so obviously the floor plan was at 1 to 100. So if we go back to SketchUp model, we can set that to 1 to 750 now that we've created that custom scale. And we can adjust the box a little bit because you don't need such a big box taking up space. And we don't need so much detail as well. We don't need any furniture or anything like that. So we're going to go back into SketchUp and create a custom view for our site plan. And we want north to be out the front here. And we want it to be rotated like that. So this is just up to you guys where you would like to place this model. Okay, so it's roughly like that. So to make modifications and create a new scene for your site plan, we need to right click on this and select Open with SketchUp. Okay, so we go back to SketchUp now. So if we click on our floor plan, it's looking not too bad, but we do want to turn off some features or some layers. So if we go to the layers, we already have a furniture layer, so we can turn that off. We don't want to see the decks. We just don't need that sort of detail. So I'll just make sure that that group is on the correct layer. So we'll go deck. Also, why don't we put it into black and white mode? All right, and then that's the level of detail that we need. You might want to show the roof, but in this instance, we'll leave it off as well for just the time being. So we're going to right click on the last scene and then select add. And since we changed the style from textured to hidden line, we're going to select save as new style. Okay, then right click on scene 7 and select rename. And then we're going to select floor plan site sheet. Something like that, just so you know that it's for this, the site plan. Now we're going to select save and then close down the drawing. So even though we've added that scene, it's not automatically going to update our view because we've selected a specific view for that SketchUp model. So on the right hand side under SketchUp model, we need to select the floor plan site sheet because that's a different style. So at any time, you can go back and open up the SketchUp model. In fact, we did have the decking on. And this is just a good example of how you could add more details as you please. Then I just turn the deck back on, save that again, and this time it will automatically update because I've already chosen the scene in layout, so it's going to add that back to my model. Okay. And if it hasn't automatically updated, just select Update Model Reference, right-click Update Model Reference, and I potentially didn't update my scene, so that was my bad. I just need to go back into SketchUp. Go back into here and just right-click and update the scene, then save the drawing, then close. Okay. Now it's updated, yeah, so I didn't update my scene before saving and closing. Okay, so let's say you wanted to you wanted to add a driveway in. So I could get the line tool, for example. I could turn on stroke if it's not already on, and I could turn on pattern fill. So under pattern fill, you can come here and go all patterns. I could go site patterns, and no, site patterns not quite what I want. All patterns, material patterns, and I want to find like a concrete pattern. Cast in concrete, that should be fine. And we'll use that for now. So let's say my driveway came in from here. I need to right click and make sure my object snaps back on. So then you can start to design the way that your driveway would look. So this is kind of like how the current driveway is working. So I can switch to arc and I can add in, oops, go to 2-point arc. And you can see it will continue on. And if when it goes green, I can, or turquoise, I can double click. So this is just a rough idea of like the existing driveway. And then I could switch back to the line. I know that the pattern fill isn't quite working how you might think it would, but once I close it up, it should fill in. And yeah, it still hasn't quite closed up. So what we can do then is get the glue and join this to here, to here, to here, to here, to here, to here. And it's not quite got it there, so we'll go to 2-point arc again. And then we'll just join that up as well, glue from there to there. All right, and this piece here, okay, it got left behind a little bit of arc there. So what we need to do is just, we'll select this one and just go Control X to cut it, delete that one below it, and then Control V, just so that we've got that there. Then we can adjust the stroke size, so we could go like 0.5 or even 0.25, and then we can adjust the shape scale as well, so we can bring that down to like 0.5 or even like 0.25 as well. Okay, so then we can start to add a bit of a hatch there. Then you might want to show your new driveway coming off here. So I could go there again, 2-point arc, and I'm just going to drag that out a bit. And then on this side, like so, get the line tool, go across, back down, and then lastly I could get the arc tool one more time, just try and blend that in there, and then you'd get your glue again, and just glue it all together. Okay, and it's done it again, so we'll just Control X and delete that one out, and then Control V, and just grab that arc tool again, and then get the glue one more time and just glue that in. Okay, so I should have, before getting started, I should have changed the line width to 0.25 and the scale to 0.25, because now I have to go back and select what I want to change and make that 0.25, and then the scale 0.25. But yeah, it could be good to leave the stroke thicker, because you want to show maybe the new outline, or you might just want to increase the density of this one here. So we could go, for example, 0.1 and just make it a different tonal pattern, or even bigger, just to make it work. Sorry, we'll go like 2. Okay, so you're just trying to show that it's a different pattern. And then I can move that over a bit as well. Of course, you've got different patterns completely if you wanted to show it in quite a different shape. So it's up to you what you want to do there. Okay, next what we could do is we could say, okay, well this is the existing house. So we'll add that in there. And then we'll just set that text size a bit smaller. So I always recommend setting the text size first before doing the text. It just makes it a lot easier. Or we could have done that as a leader text because we haven't got much space there. And again, I would set the text size. And go existing house. Okay. And then we can come over to this one and we can say proposed house. And then we can scale that up and it should move up out of the way. Alright, so before we finish, we'll just add a couple more annotations. So we've got our existing house. So we can touch that point and come up. And we'll go existing driveway. And then we'll go new driveway. New. Okay. And if you need to adjust the notes, you just double click on them and bring it further along. Okay. So as you can see, we were able to bring in a DWG into SketchUp to get the outlines of the site plan, transfer it to SketchUp, to layout, and give it a scale, and then we're able to add additional information onto our drawing.